Did you always want to be an actress? Because I have to say, I read this. This may be wrong, but in school, at a young age, you were voted most likely to be arrested and most bizarre girl in your school.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep, that's correct.
Does that drive you into acting, or does that influence you in like saying, "I'll prove them wrong"?
Oh, no, no, no. This is nothing to do about proving anybody wrong. I'm quite proud of my, because I was arrested. I have been arrested, so there's nothing to, that they proved themselves right. Or I proved them right, I should say.
Welcome to the actor's side. Today, wow, Emmy winner, Golden Globe winner, four-time SAG winner, and for her current
No,
role,
no, no. 4 times? Did I?
yeah, that's
Have I?
I saw it on your awards thing.
Oh,
It's very
wow.
impressive.
Oh, very impressive.
You actually won two SAG awards for your role in The Crown this year alone, as part of an ensemble, and then
That's
as
right. That's
the lead
that's
actress.
that's how they added up. Yeah.
It must be nice to have so many awards. You don't even know how many you have. It's so great. I have to congratulate you on all of that. This, of course, is Gillian Anderson, and congratulations on another Emmy nomination right here
Thank
as
you.
Margaret Thatcher in The Crown. How does that feel after all of this acclaim? You've won several awards for this already, at playing this particular role.
Well, I mean, firstly, to be a part of this conversation, period, in an awards calendar, it's been some time since I've been, I think along the way between the decades or whatever, there's been a couple of times where maybe I've been nominated, but I haven't won in a really long time. And I'm a very different human being than I was way back when. A lot of things have happened in between. So there is something extra sweet about that, I guess. And I think a different level of gratitude. Gratitude first and foremost that I'm still working, even in my 50s. Gratitude to have the opportunity to work on something as extraordinary as The Crown, and for a platform like Netflix, who I've had a wonderful experience with, and also to work with such amazing other actors. And so, to have had the experience that I had filming it, and then to have this kind of attention on us collectively after having that experience, it's almost like it almost feels too good to be true. It almost feels, you have to pinch yourself every once in a while. So I feel very, very humbled and grateful and delighted at the same time.
When the role came about, Margaret Thatcher, I'm wondering, as an actor, taking on such an iconic figure, one that actually had been played by Meryl Streep and won her an Oscar, and going into this, did you have any trepidation or going like, do I really want to dive into this and challenge myself in that way right now?
Well, when something like this comes along, I have found that you kind of need to say yes before another part of your brain says, no, can't possibly do that. Or I can't follow in Meryl's footsteps, or I can't follow in Vivian Lee's footsteps when I did Streetcar. I think you kind of just have to jump in with both feet, and then the fear can do what it wants or whatever, and affect you in whatever way it wants. But I think what I knew that she existed somewhere inside of me, and I could tell. I don't. It's it's hard to get specific on what that means, because it doesn't seem to make sense, I think, when I say that. But I recognized her already, and continued to recognize and identify, oddly, in certain ways, through the experience of doing the research that I did. So and I'm incredibly, I'm incredibly grateful that there is that part of me that just says, yes, and think later, because uh, that's I don't know. I enjoy the challenge, I guess.
Well, it certainly worked out,
I mean,
and
it so couldn't have worked out. I mean, it really, really, it could have really gone badly. Because everybody else is so wonderful in the show, and I could have really stank. And so I'm very grateful that whatever I did along the way added up to something that was worthy of everybody else.
I think I'm guessing, extensive preparation and research into the person, into anything you could find, made it new, again, for us watching it, because the nuances is what really struck me about your performance here. The little things, and that you don't really know about Margaret Thatcher, that she was so obsessed with her appearance, actually, so perfectly, and the way she comes across that way, which surprised me. You don't think of the Iron Lady in that way.
Well, I mean, that's all down to the writers, right? So that's all, I'm not responsible for the scenes or the scripts. But she was. I mean, she had a dress they called Poland because she wore a green dress when she was in Poland, and she continued to wear it. She liked to reuse her outfits from time to time, and she wore it because I think I'm right in saying this, their flag has green in it. And she would change many times a day. She was very, very conscious of what she wore, even though from the outside, we may say, oh my God, look what she's wearing. For her, she was very proud of her sense of style, and it suited her.
Yeah, it's fascinating. What was the biggest challenge for you in finding in getting to this character and getting to the essence, so it's not an impersonation, so that you are playing a human being here, as you definitely did in this?
Well, I think, thank you. I think a really big note that came early on was from Peter Morgan, who said, I really want you to still be in there somewhere. I want, we've cast you for a reason. There's something that you bring to the table. And if you can find a way to still allow us to see elements of you without disappearing entirely, whether that's behind affectation or behind prosthetics, or however he thought that I might. And so that was really interesting to get that note, because it allowed me it eased some of the pressure in a sense, and it allowed me to accept when aspects of me came through, even though I felt like I was being her. If that, I don't know. I remember years and years ago when I did the House of Mirth, and you know, I felt like I'd put absolutely everything into that, and then I, really, really dived into it, and then I saw the film, and I thought, but it's still me. It's like I thought that I'd failed somehow because I could still see me,
Oh, interesting.
and and I wish that I'd had that note way back when to let myself off the hook a bit, because actually that's okay. It's my interpretation of her. It's not it's not an impersonation, or I hope it feels more accessible than perhaps an impersonation.
Yeah. You're born in America, have lived in England for a big part of your life. How do you consider yourself? And does the fact that you're, living in England for so many years, and as a child too, influence your playing somebody like Margaret Thatcher?
Um, definitely. I think. I mean, we left England when I just when she came into power. We left in '79, But oddly, the first plays that I did straight out of college, and actually in college, were all British plays. It was Alan Ayckbourn and not Stoppard, but Christopher Hampton and The Philanthropist. And I kept getting work essentially because of my British accent. And so it's always been a part of my life. My goal was always to move back, or at least in part. I was initially going to be splitting my time, I think, between the States and the UK. And the earliest opportunity I got to do that, both financially and being free from the X-Files, was the minute the X-Files was done. And so I didn't anticipate that it would be a full-time move, but it has been, and it's absolutely by choice.
I have to ask you, when you say free from the X-Files, will you ever be free from the X-Files? It seems to keep coming back in one way or another always.
Oh, I think we've all been set free. I'm still amazed that the odd time that somebody actually shows me my Twitter feed, I'm surprised at how often pictures of Mulder and Scully come up, even if the conversation is absolutely nothing to do with the X-Files. It's pretty funny. But I'm in Atlanta actually at the minute working, and so I feel, that I am already immersed back into mechanisms.
And are you in Atlanta doing the First Lady?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're playing Eleanor Roosevelt?
Yeah. First
Wow.
ladies plural, so that's also Viola Davis as Michelle Obama and Michelle Pfeiffer as Betty Ford.
Yeah, fantastic. Wonderful director. Your director there, I had a chance to talk to her earlier in the season, and she was there going, "This is the hardest project. This is so."
I don't know how she's still standing, actually.
But you've jumped, from Margaret Thatcher into another iconic person. Is that something you like doing, playing real people?
Well, there's been stuff in between, much more frivolous stuff in between. Well, I played Catherine the Great's mom, which is not, it's still, I mean, she's not as iconic as those two, but she's not unknown. And did another film, just it is, there's all of it in there. It's I'm really not, I have to promise you, I'm not just jumping from one historical icon to another, and I may have to stop here. This is become a bit much, I think.
Yeah, it seems to be television. It's all mixed up now. And, with Netflix, we're talking about Netflix, and here, where you're seen around the world instantly, the work that you do, there must be some gratification in that what you're doing is going to be seen by a lot of people.
Yeah. We forget, though, that I think when we were at the height of the X-Files, on a Sunday night, we were getting 40 million viewers a night around the world. And so I'm not even sure that's, Netflix numbers today. Those were the olden days.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
that's true. Yeah. But Scully, like I mentioned before, it was so influential. And playing a character like that, did you have any idea I'm going to be doing this for 200 episodes? That this is going to be that kind of a thing. And
Not so sure I would have signed my name on a piece of paper. So it's better I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, writer, director, you directed episodes of the X. I think you were the first woman that actually did that on the X.
Yeah, and just one episode. But I think there were only 2 women in those 210 episodes.
Wow.
And I was one of them.
Well, it's hopeful for women now. Only the second woman just won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and we had only the second woman winning the Oscar for director now. Things are looking up, don't you think, a little bit? You're working with Susanna Bier, who's one of my favorite
In
directors.
2021, yes. But yes, we have to celebrate it. No point in looking back. We should only look forward.